Hi, I'm Ceri Houlbrook and I'm a folklorist, which basically means that I study the stories we tell, the customs we practice and the traditions we keep. Things like calendar customs, seasonal events, so those events and those celebrations that kind of punctuate the year, Christmas, Halloween, Eid, Chinese New Year, rites of passage, so those events and ceremonies that punctuate our lives, birth, entering adulthood, graduation, marriage, and death. And I'm really interested in looking at these customs and beliefs in the present and tracing them back historically to see how they've changed and adapted over time. Because folklore, like everything else, has to adapt in order to survive. And there is this sense, this misconception that folklore is static, that it's fixed. But actually, a lot of the customs we practice today are either new, relatively recent, or adaptations from older customs. So some of them we feel like have been with us forever, but actually haven't. Things like Christmas trees and Easter egg hunts, things that we think have been with us forever, but actually came to us during the 19th century from Germany and were actually popularized by Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. These aren't things that have been with us since ancient times, they've traveled to us. I tend to study these things through kind of primary literary sources, so things like newspapers and kind of collections from earlier folklorists. But I'm mainly interested in using objects, so material culture, using those objects as primary sources, kind of unpicking them the same way you would a literary source. So what can that object tell us about the custom? What can it tell us about people's beliefs, the stories they tell around it? Using these objects to ask questions. So for instance, what can the birthday cake tell us about people's beliefs around rites of passage? What can we learn about gender roles by looking at who buys and wraps the Christmas presents? What does it tell us about Islamic communities in the UK, that there are things such as Ramadan advent calendars and Eid trees now? So it's looking at how these customs and beliefs change as cultures travel and mix, as technologies advance, and as our values change.